Okay, so we're going to start looking at the second video in the Children of the Corn series. And I left you with a statement about planting 20 isolation rows. That's a misstatement. The maximum number of isolation rows between a potential foreign pollen source and the female plants we want to produce the cross with would be 20 isolation rows. That would be if the uh, foreign pollen source is close. If it's farther away, then it would be less and less. There's a chart that we follow to decide that. So I'm going to look at a cornfield here that I went to, and it's another one. In this case, we have male isolation rows planted. I'm going to pause it. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play it. Planted perpendicular to the female rows. And I've got to walk down these are the female rows. I've got to walk down, we're going back and forth here looking, but I've got to walk and look at all of these isolation rows. Okay, I'm walking. Am I walking now? I'm talking now. I'm walking now. And we're going to look to see if any of these female rows are planted into the isolation rows, because if they are, then those female plants have to be ripped out. But I want you to see something here. As I walk, notice you're seeing some rows that stick out farther and that go out into the male isolation rows. There's the female rows. Every fifth row is a male row. There it is. And the male row is actually planted out far enough to encounter the other male rows. So I'm walking through this field and I'm walking down this lane. I'm going to go to the next video now. I'm walking down these rows again. Same field, walking down these rows again. I'm going to stop it, exit out. Same field, we're walking farther. Now, right there, we have actually passed the corn. We are in alfalfa over here, alfalfa here, there's a deer out there, and potatoes over here. So we've passed the isolation need, but we're still in isolation rows. Okay, let's pan back. There we go. So isolation rows are planted to the end of the field, even though it wasn't necessarily that they are. There are no female rows coming into the male rows, so there's no problem here. This is empty spot represents a wet spot. And at this end of the field, we're not concerned about these isolation rows being real good because we don't have an adjacent corn crop. We did at the other end. And so what this grower did was that he planted an isolation row the whole length of the field, even though he didn't need to. And perhaps that was because he didn't know what was going to be put over here in the first place. So maybe there was indecision in the planning, and that happens. So they took precautions and planted isolation rows. So there could be 6 isolation rows or 10 isolation rows of male plants. The purpose of these isolation rows is so that the pollen from the male plants that are going to be allowed to produce that pollen will overwhelm any foreign sources of pollen. So it's simply probability stats or gambling theory, simple statistics, simple probabilities. If we have multiple times more than the foreign potential is, then we're not likely to have much contamination, although there could be some, but we're minimizing it. And that's the reason for the isolation rows. So we'll come back after the roguing has been done and check the roguing in the field. And then we'll come back again after the detasseling is done. And we'll make sure that all the female plants were detasseled. We will make sure that the only tassels producing pollen are from male plants, so that we get the cross that is that we want, that the farmer wants, to produce this certified seed. So this is the end of the second Children of the Corn, and we'll talk to you again after we go through another step of this.